Welcome back to the Hawkscast. I'm Brettlyn Johns here with Emma Cloak, Lauren Bowser, and Savanah Kohlberg. Today in this podcast, we will be talking about Spider-Man and the new movie.
Woo! Spoiler alert.
Yeah, big spoiler alerts. If you haven't watched the movie already, I recommend stop listening. Or if you want spoilers, then I guess keep listening.
Yeah.
So, let's get the elephant out of the room. I did not like the movie.
I disagree. We all saw it before you, and we all were talking about it previously, like, oh, this is a good movie. It does exactly what we wanted it to do. And then you're like, it's mid.
I loved it. I bawled my eyes out.
Yeah, that's my favorite
Which
one so
part?
far.
Multiple parts.
Yeah, I cried a lot.
There are a couple parts in there that are
What?
like...
If you'd ask Caleb and my dad, Caleb was laughing at me.
Well, there was like a couple
Crying?
scenes that I saw.
Yes.
Like, there
Are
was
we gonna
one
talk
scene...
about them?
Yeah, we can talk about
Yeah,
them.
we said spoiler
What's the
alert.
one... Okay, so you think it's mid.
Yeah.
But we think it's... I think it's a very good movie for what it is.
I think
agree.
I give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe closer to a 7, maybe like a 6.8 out of 10, you know?
6.85.
Yeah, 6.85 out of 10, whatever.
Is that passing? Is that a D?
Well, it's over like 50%, so
Yeah.
probably.
The
I
one...
give it-
50% isn't passing.
I know, but I'm just saying, this is like on the grading scale like a 64%.
Okay.
So,
Passing.
a D.
I
You gave that movie a D.
I
But,
don't
like-
think it's a D. I
No.
really don't. I think that like it's not like
plus.
it's not Endgame. You know what I mean? And it's not trying to be. It's tying up Spider-Man's loose ends.
Well, I have like a whole list of notes on why
Yeah.
I have okay here. Why I
Okay.
didn't like the movie, why I like the movie, and why I think Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man.
Okay.
but
I
we're
think,
not there yet,
Yeah, I think
so-
then
I
we're
know,
going
but
to
I was
talk
just,
about
like,
why
saying-
we sobbed in the movie. So
Okay,
there
go
were,
ahead.
I think, 2 points that I definitely sobbed in. My first one was when, spoiler alert, whenever Aunt May died.
Yes.
Me too.
I was like, but I also was kind of like, she did it to herself. This whole movie is kind of stupid.
I think it was very predictable. the whole
Yeah,
time.
I thought it
Yeah.
was predictable, but it was also very sad. And then the second time I cried was when, was it, did Tom or did,
Can we talk about the first time real quick? I kind of knew Aunt May was going to die because you and Scott were talking about it. And
yeah,
I
sorry about
overheard.
that.
But I still cried.
it's good.
It was sad. It was predictable, but it was still sad.
Yeah.
I think it was like the way she died was just like very
It is,
anticlimactic.
but she still
It was like
died.
It was
but
a slow
It was
burn
a
death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, oh, because I thought like she got hit and then she got up and it was like, oh my God, da, da, da. And then she died and I was like, oh my God, she's dead.
I was more sad about Peter's reaction than her death.
Yeah.
I was, yeah. And then, well, then also Happy knew too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever he walked, like whenever he like pulled up to the car and saw that he was crying, he like knew automatically. And then the other time I cried was when, so, you know, in spoiler alert, in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Gwen dies.
Yeah, that's when I
that was
cried.
I didn't
okay.
cry for that.
Whenever Andrew, it's Peter, both of them, whenever he saved MJ from falling,
And then he
I
started
let
crying.
out a sob, and I was with someone,
I thought
and
that
he looked
part was
over at
good.
me, and he was like, "Are you crazy?" And I was like
I like-
sobbing, like I'm tearing up now. It's the
I like
best
Yeah.
felt
part.
bad, but I hadn't watched like Andrew Garfield's movies yet to be able to like. I knew
Yeah.
she died, but I didn't know how or anything. So to me, that
exactly
was just
this-
like
it was
sad.
yeah.
It was another predictable thing, though.
Yeah, but it
I,
was
that was
good.
the
It was
good
still
parts I
good.
liked. I
Yeah.
think that was one of the good
Talking
it
parts
like
I
tied
liked.
it
Yeah.
in. I
Then
liked
how
it.
can you say that the movie was predictable? That's why I didn't like it.
Okay,
Because it was
you
predictable.
need to do your list so we can discuss.
Right.
My second time I cried. Let's talk about that real quick. When everyone like forgot who Tom was,
Yeah.
because
That
to
part
me,
was
like
sad.
I sat there and I looked at Dad and Caleb and I was like, if all my friends and family forgot who I was, I was like, I don't think I could do it. And that just like it was felt bad for him. And then it was like, what if I was in that shoes? And I like just cried.
I felt
Who are you
bad. I
again?
just was.
Like in the diner.
Who are you again?
Lauren.
Oh, that's funny. Haha.
Haha. She doesn't get the joke.
She knows.
No. You just
She
said-
forgot who you were.
Oh.
Who you was.
Oh God!
I
Wow,
am.
right over your head.
Wow, it
Anyway.
really was.
I
I'm, like,
thought that
trying
part
to
was
do two
sad, but
things
the
at once
thing
here.
about the movie,
It's gonna be a good character arc.
he comes in, and I was kind of like expecting, not expecting, but I was like, maybe they'll do like him and Ned, Tom Holland, aka Peter, will do their like little handshake. But I like figured that wouldn't happen. If that would have happened, I would have been like, how are you gonna make another movie, you know? But I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that. But MJ is wearing the necklace.
Yeah.
Peter
Black
got her.
Dahlia.
And that was like, oh, that's kind of sad.
Can we talk about, did anyone else's theater rage when the portals opened?
No, mine did not.
So loud.
I was with
people clapped,
I was
but-
with my boyfriend, and he screamed it in the theater. He's like,
So did
"That's
I.
Andrew," and I was like, "Shut up! Like you're
not allowed-
ruining
why
the
was it-
movie."
yeah.
Are you not allowed to name drop?
Well, I just like
I
don't
wasn't
want, I
like
want to
that.
respect his privacy.
I think I saw the movie like way
think he
later,
cares, though.
so.
You did.
But my theater was still packed. There was people like sitting on the floor.
it also came out like before
Really?
Christmas, so people were like kind of busy before.
Maybe not sitting on the floor, but every seat was probably filled.
Yeah,
Really?
and ours
Mine wasn't
every
like
seat was
that.
filled.
Mine
Every
was
single
too.
seat. What did you go? You went later in the evening too.
I went in. The movie was at 6:30.
I went
Yeah.
at 6 o'clock on like a Tuesday though.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
You went on a what? Friday or Saturday?
Saturday,
I
Sunday.
think it was one of those days, but it was a weekend, so
Yeah.
that's another thing.
I went one of like the first days that it was out.
The only problem I have about the movie, I think it was overhyped. I think they made it seem like this movie is so great, like this is something.
But it
And
is for Spider-Man fans.
This
It
isn't.
is.
But I was disappointed, like watching it.
But are you
I
like
think that's already because you were
Spider?
so obsessed
Yeah.
with like
Are
Tobey
you
Maguire.
are you a
Seen the other
Spider-Man?
ones?
Yeah, not Andrew Garfield's.
Okay, but that's the thing. If you watch his, you're gonna at the end of the second movie. The second movie, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, was not a good movie. It was
liked
poorly.
it. I
liked
It was
it.
poorly written in the fact that it's like rushed. There was no plot development, and everything seemed forced.
That's
and then
how I-
Gwen died, and it was like, why?
It was forced.
I agree. It was.
I think it
forced.
had to happen. She had to die for him to develop.
Yeah, but they did it in such a bad way.
Yeah,
so then,
you knew it was going to
yeah.
happen.
So at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, everyone was left on a cliffhanger because I think everyone liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man,
I liked it.
but they couldn't make another one because it was just like it was bad directing.
Swanson made this point, I think yesterday. He said that he's never seen the Andrew Garfield movies either. He says they were like they came out too soon after Tobey Maguire's, and that's probably why I didn't see it.
Maybe, yeah.
And
How old were you when these came
When did
out?
they come out? I think one of them was like 2011 or something like
I don't know, I'll look it up. But I think that
that. Toby's were spread out. Like
2002 and 2004.
but there were 3.
There's
Well,
three
yeah,
of them.
but those are the first two. I know.
Yeah.
Andrew.
I liked the second ones, and I think I liked the relationship between Andrew and like that MJ.
It came out in 2012. When did
more
the
than
Yeah,
like
Gwen.
yeah, more than anything. Any
They
of
had
the
the
other
best
ones.
love story.
Yeah, like I liked it better than Tobey Maguire's, and I liked it better than Tom Holland and
Yeah,
Zendaya.
they do definitely because
So-
she likes Peter for Peter.
Yeah,
She doesn't care that he's Spider-Man. She doesn't like that he's
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man even.
Yeah. I think
and she's
that-
not like,
yeah.
I'll do anything for you.
Yeah, she's very independent.
How does it
She's
feel,
very-
Emma?
I growing up, I had like a PS3, and I played the Amazing Spider-Man game. So like, I haven't seen the movie, but I had the game.
So you were tied to it somehow.
Somehow. You know, I think that No Way Home, I think the plot was just bad. I think not just Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland's a fine.
He's Disney
He is.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I made that point to you
I
yesterday.
know, and I agree.
And I'll get into that. But I think that. What was I saying?
Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Disney Spider-Man, but that was before.
No, I forget what I was saying. Oh, the plot. I think it was just bad writing on their part. I think the plot
I
was very
don't.
rushed.
It wasn't. It needed to like everything that happened in it. It was like, oh, this like it was very predictable, and I'll say that it is because it did everything that everyone wanted to happen. Like here's spoiler alert. If you
Stop saying that.
I'm making sure everyone listening knows. If you look at
We said it in the
the
beginning.
other I'm like giving them timestamps.
Okay, go ahead.
If you look at the like Endgame and Infinity War, whenever you watch those movies, you don't expect you don't expect the Avengers to lose. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
And then in Endgame, whenever they you don't expect Tony to die. You know what I mean? You kind of like you don't go into that movie like, oh,
You expected it in
Tony
the
Stark's gonna
beginning.
die. I did it.
He was very sick in the beginning of Endgame. He was up in like space, and Captain Marvel saved him. He was very skinny. You don't remember that part?
That's not why he died.
I know, but it was like I didn't say it was predictable that he was dying, but he was very sick in the beginning. I think
Oh,
people
yeah,
were
but
I thought
expecting
maybe
him.
he was gonna die in that moment,
Yeah.
but then once he
No,
got better,
yeah,
it was
exactly.
Like, he's not dying.
Once the movie whenever the movie ended, I was like, oh my god, like like I was kind of like blown away by what happened, but I wasn't sad about it. I was like, oh, this is exciting for like continuing the storyline. But whenever there's just certain things about the Spider-Man movie that like needed to happen, like developing Andrew's story to show that like they even pick fun at it. That's another thing about the movie that I love. They pick fun at like the fact that Andrew's movies were so bad. They like
did.
The one they were like
so sad,
but he was like, oh man, like there was one where it's like, you're not it anymore, and then he was like, you know, you're right, man, and you know, and then they said like, oh, you know, dude, you're amazing.
Yeah.
You're an amazing Spider-Man. He's like, thanks, man. I really need to hear that. Like the way that they pick fun at it, I think that they kind of are laughing at themselves too, because they realize that the movie's predictable. But it needed to happen to finish up storylines.
There was points in the movie I was like, okay, like...
It makes sense.
It makes sense. The thing I liked about the movie is how nostalgic it was.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked. And then but like Tom Holland was not giving it to me. I think he just wasn't like because Tobey Maguire, his Spider-Man, that was like part of my childhood. So
yeah.
Tom Holland wasn't giving me the same, like, effect.
But they're all different.
I know, but I'm going to get there.
Okay.
How did you feel about his other movies, like Tom Holland's other movies?
I thought Homecoming was good.
Yeah.
I think No Way Home.
I think this one was the best.
Home with Mysterio.
That was all right. I think No Way Home was just mid. I think the next movie would be better because the ending of No Way Home was when I started liking it, and then it ended, and I'm like, oh, wow.
I think they're all supposed to be different because in The Amazing Spider-Man, Peter goes after Gwen. So that's different in itself. Mm-hmm. And then, like, Tom Holland is with the Avengers. So that's different. They're all supposed to be different, but they're all good. For what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, they're all like but different.
I think that Tom's okay, so everyone else got their like origin stories of like becoming Spider-Man. Tom Holland's was like interrupted by Iron Man, and then he was brought onto the Avengers, and he had a whole nother plot line. And now they kind of reset it, I think. They genuinely did reset everything.
I agree, because it was kind of like, it was forced, like, not like forced, but like Iron Man, it was so rushed for him to like be Spider-Man compared to where everyone developed and they grew as Spider-Man.
But honestly, it wasn't like he was becoming your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
No.
He was an Avenger.
Yeah.
Well, I just think they can't be comparable, that Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or Tom Holland. I just don't think you can be a Spider-Man fan and not say Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man.
But he's not. I disagree.
I
completely disagree.
You can't be but you said you're a Spider-Man fan and you still haven't watched Andrew Garfield's movies. Mm-hmm. So how can you be a Spider-Man
Andrew
if you haven't
Garfield
watched all
is
of
the
them?
most comic book-wise correct character.
Yesterday you said Tom Holland was.
Because I was incorrect. I did my research, ma'am.
Okay.
Research?
I did. Tom Holland, to me, okay, so the whole thing is Tom Holland is the most, so this is what I mean. Tom Holland is the most correct in the way he acts. He was the youngest. He acts the goofiest. Like, whenever, he's 25 now, I think we found out.
Yeah, I think he started playing 19.
He was young, and he's kind of growing with the story. So it's like, he's 25, and like people go to high school or college whenever they're 18. That's like not a crazy time gap. I feel like Andrew and Tobey were a lot older whenever they were. I think Tom is the most...
I think Andrew Garfield was like 30.
Yeah, like I think he's 38 now.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield's old. He's older. But Tom Holland acts the way that you would think Spider-Man would act.
He does.
Quirky teenager, a cute little teenager, da-da-da. But then his storyline was changed because of the Avengers. But Andrew Garfield, his movies were terrible. But he has the correct hair color, the correct height, the correct build, I
liked his movies.
I liked
you know, the correct weight. Like, he is the most comic book accurate.
And if
physically.
That's what you're looking for, then he would be the best Spider-Man.
But the way he acts is too swaggy.
That's what I was going to say. I think he's
too
like with the skateboard and everything. I
think that Tobey Maguire was just like my childhood. I mean, I was Spider-Man for like 3 years in a row because of his movies. I love those movies. And it's just, I think it just like hurts my heart. Then it's like, oh yeah, Tom Holland, he's Spider-Man. Because he's not the Spider-Man that I grew up with.
Well,
so
now it's
other people.
But the movie that is mid now puts them all on the same timeline to where they all were at one point working together, even though everyone forgets it did happen. So all of the stories are kind of cleared up, which is I think is the best thing.
I just think that comparing Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire, because I have not seen Andrew Garfield's. I mean, I've seen clips and scenes and whatever else, the video game. Anyway, I think that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man had such a better storyline than Tom Holland's.
I agree, and I think his villains are the best. I think.
Oh yeah,
That's why they brought them back.
Wait, who?
Best.
I stopped listening.
The
Tobey
first
Maguire.
Tobey
Oh,
Maguire's
I do
villains
like
are
his
the best.
villains.
I think
That's why Andrew Garfield's movie were so bad because there was
don't
no
agree.
I think he got the
development.
short end of the
He-
stick. I think he
Electro
did.
Electro was the worst
Fox.
villain
It made me
Jamie
ever.
Fox.
He made
like-
me so sad.
Yeah.
His story was so
No,
sad.
I agree with you.
And but it was just like, and then his Green Goblin, terrible.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
Oh, no, I
The
agree with you.
storyline
Scary.
was terrible.
But Andrew Garfield, I feel like for a lot of it, he made up for that. I
He's
think-
just awesome. I love
he
Andrew
is.
Garfield, but his movies are
But I agree about. I think
No,
Peter
just
Parker
bad,
and him
bad.
just didn't go together. But he was a good Spider-Man
Yeah.
as Spider-Man.
he was. Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire is the best Peter Parker. Tom Holland is
It's a
like
mix.
the mix. He's why he's Disney Spider-Man, and he's able to like work with it
I
now,
agree.
and
I
people
agree with
like
that,
him.
too.
I have not seen Andrew Garfield, so I won't say. But if I'm comparing just Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire wins all day.
Okay, that's fair. I think that also, like Andrew Garfield, his, like, the way he has Spider-Man is he's so confident in his suit.
He is.
Wait, who?
Andrew Garfield, in
He
his
is.
suit, he is the most confident, and that's the thing. He's too confident outside of his suit, and that's where I think his biggest fault
He
is.
skates around the hallways.
Yeah,
like,
he-
you
that's
don't
his
do
biggest
that,
flaw.
especially
Flaw.
if you think about the actions of Peter Parker.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
just
Like,
not,
he-
it doesn't click.
I didn't get like the geekiness
Yeah,
from him.
yeah, the quirky,
Like it
the
was just
weird.
like you're skating around the hall.
But he
Like-
had like that nerd kind of feeling,
yeah.
but it wasn't awkward.
It was like a
Yeah.
cool
It wasn't
nerd,
the
yeah.
awkward.
The things I didn't like about the movie, I think that I felt like Tom Holland doesn't have any lack of responsibility. He has no responsibility. I think that he has no
he does.
consequences.
But maybe this is like the step to that
I think at the end, that's why I'm saying I think the next movie because
he has to live with that consequence.
I think
of nobody
I
knowing it.
don't like. I feel like Tom Holland isn't even like. Okay, well, I don't know how to say this because you're just gonna attack me. A true Spider-Man. He's not. He's the Avengers Spider-Man.
I
He's
agree, and maybe this like
Like-
closes his Avengers Spider-Man ways,
And that's-
so he's able to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
That's what I'm saying. I went into the theater and I was like, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Not that they were trying to pull that off.
but he was never given that title.
Yeah.
I okay.
Because
because he was given the Avengers.
Well, I'm pretty sure he says
Tobey
that.
Maguire was given your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
And that's what I like.
And Andrew Garfield was given the Amazing Spider-Man. That's why they're different, and you can't really compare each of them because they're all supposed to be different.
And with like the whole consequences thing, I don't think like I do agree like Tom didn't get that much consequences, but he got thrown into the grown-up world so quick, like through the Avengers. I feel like you didn't. That was a consequence in itself
Just
because
in
he was
general,
still young.
as-
Look
I
at
think
Thor.
so.
Look at Thor as a hero.
Son of Odin.
He screwed up in his first movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And his dad took
can't
away
with
his
his
hammer
first
and put him
movie.
on Earth.
Yeah.
Like he had like the ultimate of consequences, and yet everything worked out for him. You know what I mean? Like for Tom,
Yeah.
it's like his consequences are so tiny. Like his issues are very tiny, and you know what I mean? They're different. And so I think his like issues and his his consequences are like correlating with like how small his issues are.
I just think that for people to say that, I think you said Tobey Maguire's movies aren't good.
I don't think that they're not good, but I just wasn't a fan of them.
They're
He personally,
cringy. It's
yeah.
very
See, I watched.
2000s.
But
I
that's
watched-
Peter
2000s
Parker.
movie.
I
get
watched
it.
the
I
first
like
one
them.
last
No, I
night,
get
and
it,
it took me back, and
It does. It really
that
does.
movie is so like heart, just to my
It's a-
heart.
it's a-
Tom Holland will never do
it's
that
a-
for me.
2000s movie to the core.
Yeah, I agree. Like you can tell that it's from back then, so it's not like I don't like it. And Peter Parker is like kind of cringy. It's just like it bothered me.
But
I think
that's
that
not
he-
a movie that you would go to cry at. That's not.
I don't
That
think
is a funny movie.
I don't think
Yeah, it
Spider-Man
is
is
funny.
to cry at. I don't know how
I
you guys
thought the Amazing
cried.
Spider-Man was sad.
Okay, well, I haven't
Most
seen
of those
Spider-Man 2
movies to
maybe.
me were sad.
I think that Tobey Maguire is the most relatable. I think his movies are like
if you relate to him.
I think I do.
Yeah.
The train scene. Okay, that's the third one. So I think this Tobey Maguire's second one is the best.
I love his third movie. That
it's good.
movie is just the funniest movie.
It's funny.
It's hilarious.
Is that the one where he like does the dance?
It's when he's like pointing his fingers
when
at
he's
the
in
women.
Because he doesn't care anymore.
But like,
I like
the
that
whole-
one. That one was funny.
You know,
agree.
I think
I'm gonna put some
I didn't
dirt
make
in your eye, Brettlyn.
I don't see how that's my problem. Where that's my problem.
I agree that one was
I
funny,
don't.
but
I fail to see where that is my problem.
I missed the part.
I missed the part where that's
I do
my
like that he
problem.
was like
that's
he
my
was the
problem.
very first Spider-Man and everything, and it was a 2000 movie, so I get that. Like I get that.
He would be a lot of people's
oldness.
favorite for that specific reason. I
Yeah.
understand. Grow. There's other versions.
I know, but I just don't. Okay, whatever. I think the other two Spider-Mans are great. Fine. You know what? Maybe not great. Tom Holland, maybe not great yet.
Yet.
But
But he's young.
I'm saying.
He's younger than both
I
of them
think
when
that
they filmed their first movie.
I think he will be better. Like I think No Way Home.
So you think he will be better than?
No,
Tobey
I'm
Mag-
saying
okay.
no. I'm saying I don't know.
He might.
Don't quote me. I'm not saying he's gonna be better. I'm
We're
not
gonna
saying
pull this
anything.
up after.
Go ahead. I just think that No Way Home just didn't do it for me. I think the next movie will be better because at the end of the movie, he starts becoming the real Spider-Man.
I
He
agree.
makes it. He is not depending on Stark's suits. He's not depending on everyone to save
Do you
him
really think he
anymore.
was depending?
Yeah.
I don't think.
I don't think he was depending. I think that it was his resources.
I-
That why would you be like, oh no, Mr. Stark, let me wear my
But
my singlet.
that's
Like I don't
how you
like.
show the difference.
Yeah.
Of each of them, like how early Toby was compared to Andrew, compared to Tom. Because
I don't think he was
different
dependent.
times.
I think in the movie he got carried by everyone else.
What
I
movie?
think No Way Home.
He literally is a
don't
brand new superhero. Like like he is. Like
Think
he is
of-
a brand
think
new.
of Tony
like
Stark's first movie.
like that. Oh, excuse me. Got a little choked up. And like Iron Man and Captain America, like they all had multiple battles by themselves to like bring them to where
Yeah.
like being an Avenger is like, oh, this is easy. I know how to be an Avenger.
They were chosen.
Not easy, but like they were. It kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
Tom was kind of like, you're coming with us,
Yeah,
kid.
like
Figure
they-
it out. You
they-
gotta figure it out.
All the
Well-
other people had the time to develop, and like they had their 3 movie story before.
He is
getting
the
thrown into
first
the-
Marvel hero to have his coming like his origin story after he was in the Avengers.
Well, you
But it
know,
was, like,
I
his
hope it
origin
gets.
altogether,
I
like,
hope
that
it gets
was.
better because
might.
right now I'm not like dissing on Tom. I'm not saying I'm just middle. I think he's.
The shirt. I just realized the shirt.
Oh
Stark
yeah,
Industries.
my Stark Industries. Yeah, I wore it just
Yeah.
because of the podcast. But I think that like. I didn't make this point earlier. I think the major I'm going into for college and the classes I have with Swanson, I analyze movies different than everyone because I know what to look for. So I think that has a big part in why I think the plot was underdeveloped. I think that's why it was rushed. I think that it just wasn't a good movie. I think that has a big thing to play.
I think it's also because everybody got spoilers beforehand. Everybody knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
They released stuff.
You
As
really
soon as you
wished.
thought-
Once you saw the
Yeah.
villains were in the movie,
As
you were
soon
like,
as you
oh my god.
thought, or you saw that maybe Andrew Garfield and Tom or Tobey Maguire was going to be in it, everybody thought that they were. And your mind just stuck on that. If you watched those movies, that was stuck in your head until you watched that movie. And it happened. And
Yeah,
so
once
that's
you
why
saw
it was
them.
like, oh, okay, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. But it was still exciting.
I just think that like it was so hyped up. People went into the theater and was like, "Yep, this is a great movie." Before even watching it,
I thought that too, and I still think it was a great movie.
I see. That's like the disappointment I was getting. I was like, "Oh, you know, this is a movie of the century. You know, this is gonna be a good movie because everyone, you three, were hyping it up like no
I-
other."
They had iconic scenes.
You know,
in
I'm
there.
happy I
you know,
hyped it
that's
up.
what I like
them
is the
swinging on each other's webs.
that I did like the nostalgic.
It was literally like the most perfect. It was you could not have done it any better.
Yeah,
For
I don't see that.
with the
Oh.
3
What would
you
Spider-Men.
add? What would
Unless
you
it was
add?
a 5-hour long movie.
Yeah.
Like how much can you fit into?
I just think it was
2.5 hours.
You know, the one part I didn't. Okay, Tobey Maguire and the Green Goblin have so much history. They did not talk at all.
it's not
during
his
the
movie.
I know, but
He
I
already
still,
had his 3 movies.
I wish I would have seen them at least say something, other than the Green Goblin stabbing him at the end.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry, spoiler. I
But
just think
I-
I
but
would.
that,
I
like-
wish I would have seen Toby and the Green Goblin. at
But I
least
think
have a
that's because you
conversation.
are a very you're pro Tobey Maguire. You're
And
like,
that's- but
give
you're
me more
stuck on
Tobey.
that.
But it's not his movie. It's
No.
all it's Tom's movie, but they're there as supplemental characters. It's not about Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
I agree, because it was like Tom's movie and not like anyone else's. Like the main focus was Tom.
Yeah.
Well, he
And-
did a bad job, I think, because I think
I
that
don't agree.
I
I
think
don't
Doctor
He did
Strange.
They all did exactly what they were
Yeah,
supposed to
I
do.
know. I think that everyone else. I
What
think
would you
like
change.
oh,
Everything apparently.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh.
I think Doctor Strange completely carried that movie. And
I
then
think
In the
He was a good
15
Yeah,
minutes he was in it.
That's what I was about to say. He was barely in it.
no, I think
Doctor Strange could have completely avoided the whole movie.
Yeah, Doctor Strange
Well,
is the
then
one
there
that
would
messed
be
up
no
the whole
movie.
Exactly. The whole
timeline.
thing is that I don't understand how he carried the movie.
I think there was just parts in the movie like how the two Spider-Mans were like introduced was like
I think
that.
it was hilarious.
Oh my god, that was
I
perfect.
loved
And then
that.
his grandma was in the spoiler alert.
Oh, spiderweb! Can you get that spiderweb up in the corner, please?
Yeah, like
That was
that's like
But his
hilarious.
grandma
But,
was so
like,
funny.
It was just too. They could have done it better. Like, and it's Ned gets Doctor Strange's ring, and he knows how to, cast.
I think that
the
was
I just think
weird.
that's weird, but it was
But
kind of funny.
that's opening something else up
It
because he
is,
might
but I'm
be I forget
confused.
the name of the person.
But if
he might become
the
Isn't it like
someone
Wong or
I don't
whatever that guy's
remember,
name is?
but he
Yeah.
he's that's supposed I think that oh, excuse me. I think that is supposed to open up the idea that he could become then a superhero of some sort or a villain.
think-
I
I
don't
just
remember.
think it could have been so much. They could have done so much better. Like, they're in that mirror dimension or whatever with Doctor Strange, and he's like, it was funny. Oh, Doctor Strange, why don't you try using geometry? Like,
But he's
That was
smart.
good.
Like, come on.
I agree.
Peter
but, like,
Parker.
Peter Parker is smart.
No, I
what
just think-
college are they trying to get into?
MIT.
Yeah, MIT.
They should know how to do geometry if they're going into MIT.
I'm not
That's
saying
the
you
whole-
shouldn't know
No,
how
I
to
know,
do
but that's
geometry,
but
that
like
was
that's Peter
so
Parker.
But I think
cheesy.
that you're.
I think that was
Okay.
so cheesy
I
and
think-
It
corny.
was.
And then
But
Ned,
that's the point.
I think it
it
was
supposed
cute.
To be
I think
like
it was
that.
cute and,
and then
funny.
Ned gets the ring and he's opening up all the portals. And
But
then
the way
boom,
that he
Andrew comes in.
But
boom,
the way
Toby
that he
comes
the way
in.
that he opened. No, that's not how that happened though. Because whenever they were the whole reason that those portals opened was because they were like, "Let's go get Peter," and then there's 3 Peter Parkers
that
in
was a
their
good-
universe,
I
which
like
was
that
great.
part.
And the way that they introduced that was the best way possible because they were looking for Peter because they didn't
Yeah.
know if they should have destroyed the box to send everyone back. It was completely put into place the way that it was supposed to open them, and then they came into the kitchen, and then the grandma was like the comedic relief.
How else were you supposed to do it?
Yeah,
I think
and they were grand entrances too, like through a portal. Like how else? They're just gonna be swinging around. Like oh
Yeah.
my god, there's Spider-Man and there's Spider-Man.
Where'd all
like
these
they did
Spider-Mans
it. They
come
did it in
from?
a very isolated way
I'm
where
getting
people couldn't
attacked
see.
right now. Jeez.
Wait, can we talk about that Ned thing again? Because Doctor Strange, if you watched his movie, all of the stuff that he's gone through to be a wizard or
But that's why Ned's like chosen.
that's why I was
it's like a thing.
confused.
But
Because how can he just
because because in the beginning he's like, Doctor Strange, my grandma says we have magic in our family, and then suddenly,
Foreshadow.
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I predicted it. Oh, Ned's gonna open it up like
Well, that's
Doctor
what
Strange.
foreshadowing's
Yeah.
for in my head.
It's like
I don't
That's
know.
why I'm saying it was
the thing
predictable.
is,
That's
is
what
that
I'm getting
I
at.
agree
but
with
I
you on
could
that
not.
one.
Oh,
Got a haircut.
I
Anyway.
could not have. I did not predict that. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then he got the thing, and I was like, oh, foreshadowing. I'm doing a connection in the movie, and now I'm realizing something else.
I didn't really like that one.
I like the
agree with you
movie
on
in
that one.
general.
Thank you.
I liked the movie a lot. I think it's my favorite movie. But there was a lot of stuff that it was like
Endgame will forever be my favorite movie.
Endgame?
Thor Ragnarok is really good too.
I like that movie too. I think that like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I think that Tom Holland, he's like, it's like hard, like, I don't know how to word this, but like, he just like, him being Spider-Man is just like so, oh yeah, I'm Spider-Man. And him being, like, I think that Tobey Maguire, he was, like, a hero with or without the suit, and Tom Holland's not like that.
how?
I just get that.
Because you're biased. That's fine. That's nothing we can really discuss. If
Well,
you
I just
like,
think-
you like Tobey Maguire and he's your favorite
Just because
Spider-Man,
he's
but
the
like,
first one. He's
yeah,
the
but like, you
original.
can't like come
if-
down on Tom for
No,
not being a
no,
hero without
I'm-
the suit.
But I think that he just depended on Tony Stark.
I don't
But
think
I
so.
also think Tony Stark was like his Uncle Ben, which makes sense, which is
I
a
agree
good.
to that.
But I also think that there was things in the movie that I liked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the lighting was good and
Yeah.
stuff like
Lighting.
that. No, I'm just kidding. Like,
Sound
The
effects.
lighting
No,
was
yeah.
good. I didn't see a boom mic.
That's a plus.
yeah,
That's a
that's
plus.
there was no like.
I
No
saw
boom
No, I
mics.
think the MJ in this movie is better than
previous MJs.
Yeah.
But I love Gwen.
I
Yeah.
did like Gwen.
I love
Cannot
Gwen.
compare to Gwen. Nobody can
love
compare
Gwen.
to Emma Stone's Gwen.
She died.
I'm not a fan of Emma Stone, but like Gwen made me
I
be
like Emma
like
Stone.
I love Emma Stone.
I like Emma Stone.
There was one movie I
Jeez.
watched and it made me be like, Emma Stone. But
I just
Really?
think,
yeah,
like, if you've seen Tobey Maguire's movies,
That
her
MJ
MJ's
sucks.
like annoying.
She's
she's
so
oh, I
annoying.
hate,
such, like-
disliked her.
Nobody
3
can say that
movies
they
of
like
chasing.
her.
and
she's
wanting
dating
and-
Flash, then she's dating Harry, and then she's like,
So-
oh,
but
let me
she's-
kiss
yeah.
Spider-Man. Oh, well, I'm in love with Spider-Man. Sorry, Harry. Like, it's just, she's like annoying.
I didn't like her.
So I do like her MJ,
Yeah, Zendaya.
but I also don't like
She's good at anything she does.
She's
Yeah.
beautiful.
the Aunt May in there. I'm not too. I don't know. I'm like on edge.
Aunt May being a very attractive younger woman and not being like old.
She just like made me mad a
but
little
it's
bit.
Disney-fied. It's
I
like,
know,
ooh,
that's-
ooh,
I think
ooh.
that's the issue
like
I
that's
have.
like
Aunt May is so
Tobey
hot,
Maguire's is such
Who?
a
Aunt May
Oh
is
my
so
gosh,
hot in this
yeah,
movie.
she
Yeah,
is.
she's pretty.
she's very attractive.
I just think like it was like making me so mad because, but that's like it's a superhero movie, but it's like everyone deserves a second chance, Peter.
That's her whole
I know.
That's
Art.
like her
I
mantra.
know,
though,
But
like,
that was
all
something
of
that was
them.
predictable, the fact that she had such a big role in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So she
I was
gonna
like, why is
die.
she such a big role? And then she was the whole reason that they all stayed. And I was like, and then she got hit. And I was
But it's
like,
something about
oh.
the movie. I just made me mad during the movie. You know.
I don't know. I thought that it was well developed. It was also predictable, but it's kind of like, but we're looking back at it saying it's
Yeah.
predictable.
Yeah.
While I was watching the movie, I had
would-
no idea
yeah.
what was happening.
I didn't think it was
I did.
predictable while I was watching it. You also had a lot of spoilers beforehand.
Yeah,
But like
did.
you guys weren't telling me stuff.
But like, how much did you see on TikTok?
I
Or
would
scrolling on
you know,
Instagram. or,
No, the
It's my fault though that you have all that stuff.
I
on
know.
TikTok.
Sav has put me on Marvel TikTok, but now I'm on Toby TikTok.
I
so.
love
if
Marvel
I still had
TikTok.
TikTok, I would love to be on Marvel. TikTok.
But the way I knew that all the 3 I didn't see trailers or anything, is that airport when they're all in the airport and getting
Well,
attacked by
that's, yeah,
paparazzi.
so
Spoiler.
that's kind of their fault, though.
But that's how I knew they were all going to be.
I know, but imagine like sitting there and watching the portals open, like, oh my god, you know what I mean? And like knowing
Yeah.
about the comics and seeing things fall into place. Like Ned is something, and I don't know
Yeah,
what,
I
but he's
know.
something. And like Angelo knows the comics, and he knows what's gonna happen, and he'll point things out, and he'll be like, look, and he'll like tell me things that I don't even recognize, and it's kind of cool because they want it to be kind of predictable, I think, because you want the movie to be good.
But you want,
You
it to
want little
match,
plot
kinda like a
twists,
book.
Yeah.
but you want to like see where things fall into place and then storylines arise. Because now he is going to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The whole
that's what I like,
Spider-Man and the
yeah, 'cause nobody
Avengers.
knows who
they,
he is.
I don't think
Absolutely nobody knows
that's
who he
not
is.
from the comics. I think that they wrote that. The Avengers and Spider-Man and Tony Stark being his Uncle Ben. I think that was all written by like
Oh, yeah,
Disney.
probably. I
think
And
it-
now
yeah,
it's coming
definitely.
back to be
Well, I'm
comic
glad it's
accurate.
like doing a full circle here.
But I like how it did that. Like I like
I
how
like
he
it a lot.
had the whole development, and
I
then
think-
he's like taken back
I
down.
think maybe once it starts getting like better with like the nostalgic, he makes his own suit with Aunt May's sewing machine. That
Well,
that was nice.
If you think about it,
But-
isn't Tom Holland's through Disney? The other ones are through Sony.
Yeah,
I know.
So
they're
they're
different.
completely different.
Well, that also brings up the fact that like all Marvel things are kind of dependent on what platform they're streamed on, because Daredevil, terrible, so not family friendly
Yeah.
and it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It is insane. But then it's like
yeah.
all the things that are on Disney Plus that are Marvel family friendly.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple things
Some
that
of them.
Some of them. It just
I mean,
depends. But some of them are more family friendly than others.
Let's watch Iron Man.
I love Iron Man. Tony Stark.
I know. I
My
love
boy.
Iron Man
It's
too.
brutal though. Like
Yeah, some of these shows it just depends, and like,
yeah.
but like Max Murdock that's Daredevil. Daredevil's in is gonna be.
I don't think I've
his-
ever watched Daredevil.
It's amazing.
I
It's
watched
it's
it
very
and I
violent,
Didn't
but
you
it's
just say
good.
Bad?
It's
What'd you
bad as
It's
in
like-
like violent and
yeah,
vulgar.
like,
Like,
okay,
it's very
vulgar.
All
graphic.
right, keep going.
Extreme.
Bad as in don't let your kids watch it.
yeah, not
Or-
Disney approved.
Yeah, not Disney approved, not
Okay.
PG-13.
Fair enough.
But if Matt Murdock is supposed to be Tom Holland's lawyer, and he is Daredevil, and so it's like they're
pulling
connected.
in.
It's the same actor, but his
Was he
show.
in the movie?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's the one who caught the brick.
Yeah, okay, I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
But like, why'd they bring him in? Like,
because
I guess
he's
for-
part of
okay,
the franchise.
I guess.
You
I
see what I'm
didn't-
saying?
I didn't know who
It
he
brings
was,
everything
yeah.
together. And that's my favorite thing though, because honestly, if you watch, because I watched the Spider-Man movies whenever they were like coming out. And I mean, I didn't watch the first like actual like Tobey Maguire's, but whenever they all came out, so badly, whenever all of these like Tom Holland Spider-Man came out, I was always like, why are there so many? Like, why can't there just be one Spider-Man? And you know what I mean? That's fine. But, like, now they have them all connected, and now they're connecting everything.
Well, since they opened that multiverse, I think it's awesome how that they were able.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking about that then.
No.
Especially not even when Andrew was doing it. And I think that they were able to pull them in. That was like crazy.
They're kind of writing it as they go,
I
frankly.
think it was iconic that they brought all of them in, and I think it's only going to grow. But I think the end of the movie was one of the greatest parts of the movie because I didn't really like the other parts, but
I think the end was great.
That was my favorite.
I cried.
I think the end was my least favorite part, not based on the like, just the fact that it was kind of like, oh, like it's over, kind of like they did everything that they could, you know, like him and MJ are in love, him and his best friend, like Ned, you know, they're gonna miss each other, but
scene was awful though.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Ew.
But you know what I mean? Like they kind of like he swings off into the sunset,
but
and never to be seen again.
They didn't have like the romance.
That's why
I think that's what they're getting
Andrew.
away from because I think the neighborhood friendly Spider-Man like Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, I assume they had their like lovers.
He was
like,
with Gwen. Gwen and him were dating. They were in love, and then I loved Gwen also because she was very bullheaded. She wanted her. She had and I hate damsels in distress. That is my
least. That's what MJ, the original.
But that is my least favorite type of female character in a movie because I can't take it. I cannot take it.
MJ's always getting saved.
It's my least favorite, but. I love Gwen and I like Zendaya too. Gwen put herself into situations, but Zendaya is the perfect kind because she likes to be saved, but she also is very smart and very strong. Yeah. Yes, she's a good character.
But I think
the ending was sad. I thought
that was the best part. That's
MJ
when
were gonna like make out. I don't know. They had like a weird thing going on. Rewatch that movie because I thought something was gonna happen.
I think the ending was when I started like, wow, that.
Yeah.
It's always so weird though because Ned is always with them when they kiss or something.
Oh yeah, like
he
on the roof of
the
roof.
He's like, all right.
I just think Tom Holland. He just like, I don't think they're writing it the way they're like, true, like not true lovers, but they're like. I felt like MJ, like in Zendaya, would say I love you, and Tom would be like...
And he just didn't?
He'd just be like, going away.
That's Peter Parker, but it makes me so sad that they did that. Because they could have done so much more. They're dating in real life.
But in like Tobey Maguire's, Toby has been in love with MJ, but MJ keeps choosing all these other guys. And then
that's something I don't like about his movies.
Yeah.
See,
I think that's something that made me really angry about it, and a reason why I don't like it, because I don't like that kind of stuff.
The female characters are different throughout each one.
I think the MJ now, different. Tom Holland's MJ is the best character by far. I love Gwen, but she does the most storyline.
I like their relationship, but I think like Zendaya is a good MJ.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
But their relationship makes me sad that they could have done so much more with it, and they just didn't.
I think the original MJ is just a bad actor. I feel like
terrible. I just don't like her.
Kristen Dunst. Yes. I think she's a bad actress.
Yeah,
sorry.
Christine.
I don't know. I've never seen any of her
I was gonna
stuff.
say, yeah,
or maybe I did. I just didn't recognize her.
I think she was just bad. Like when I look at her and I'm like, anyone can be an actress.
People say that about Toby, but I think that they just don't realize that's what he's trying to be. He's trying to be that awkward person who can't relate to anybody because he's so awkward, and he makes those jokes, but it's not a joke.
There's just so many great
funny.
scenes in
he
there.
is the best Peter Parker. He just is.
I would agree with that.
Andrew is the best Spider-Man.
But people say
Tom is the best of both worlds.
Best Spider-Man.
Not the best though.
The train
Disney plug.
Like the train scene in Tobey Maguire's movie. That is like ultimate scene where he stops the train.
It's a good scene.
I know, but so that's why I think that he's the best Spider-Man.
Oh, that's the
he
only
has the best
scene?
villains.
No.
He has the best villains,
I agree with that.
and he has the best options to do. That's the thing. Like he has the best villains, and he has the best abilities with him to like become the best Spider-Man.
I think
Tom Holland has no villains.
I know.
Vulture.
Mysterio.
I think
Thanos. That's everyone's villain. That's everyone's.
He doesn't have any. Yeah.
He doesn't have like any like sustainable like building who he is as Spider-Man. But I like him. I think he's great.
Andrew Garfield. They could have done so much with Electro.
They ruined it. They put too many. They put like too many. Genuinely, I feel like they put too many villains and too many like story arcs into, what was it, 2 hours?
But they could have done so much with him.
They could-
Sorry,
he is a
Andrew
good-
Garfield. We
he's
apologize that
through,
the
like-
writers were bad. You
Yeah.
could have
It
been
wasn't
something
your
great.
fault. You're
But it's
perfect.
Not your fault, Andrew.
Electricity. How was Peter Parker supposed to stop electricity
Mm-hmm.
throughout the entire city?
It's webs, you know, that magnetic stuff.
And
No,
they did
because-
it.
Oh my
But
god! And then,
Sandman-
the scene about like Peter Parker, or whenever Toby, like his came out of his skin, everybody was like,
Oh, yeah,
"What is
I
that?
love
That's
that
so
scene
funny.
so
that was so
much.
funny."
I liked
was
that
good.
one.
That
was so
was one
funny.
of my favorite scenes, and it's like
Where else?
you create your own webs,
Yeah.
and it's like and they're like, no, we have to make ours in a lab. Like your web shooters don't
But
just
the way they did it had like a meaning, like,
that's
Mm-hmm.
it.
and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
because he's old.
That was
I-
a funny innuendo.
I just love Tobey Maguire.
No, I liked that scene, and I hadn't like fully watched the other Spider-Mans first. And when I watched them, I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's like if
looking
you
back
didn't
on it.
see the other Spider-Mans, you wouldn't get the movie.
Yeah.
you
and that-
didn't watch Andrew Garfield's movie.
But I know enough.
yeah, so did
You
I.
don't need to know a lot from those movies.
No, because they're not really
predictable.
memorable and they suck.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
Tobey Maguire's you needed to know, like all
is,
of
To-
them.
is
Really
anyone's
did.
They were all
Spider-Man
his
favorite? Is
favorites.
everyone's favorite Spider-Man movie Tobey Maguire's? I mean, Andrew Garfield's. I mean,
I love him.
I
But-
like.
I
like
love
his movies.
that the
I like
second I
scenes in
hate
his movies, but I don't know
yeah,
if they're
I've seen the
hate
good
how
scenes.
bad
I've seen them.
I hate how bad his movies were, but like what he did in the movies I liked.
I liked. his
I don't
movies.
have a favorite Spider-Man movie because they all do something, and
They
now
do.
they all led up to something. It's
Well, my
kind of like
favorite-
they all do something special. In
My
their
favorite
way.
is this one.
Yeah.
I think the issue I'm only having is like, oh yeah, Tom Holland, whatever. I think he'll be something good. You have to appreciate Tobey Maguire.
You
Yeah.
have to. I agree.
I
You
think
have to
that's
like
the
them
issue.
all to like the movie.
I
Yeah,
think that
I agree.
like people are just like, oh, Tom Holland, but you have to appreciate the previous Spider-Mans.
There are people the other way, like you, that hate Tom Holland.
I don't. I've
But you
never
did
once.
yesterday.
Retract it.
I
Say
didn't-
now.
I don't hate Tom
There
Holland.
we
I
are.
think
There you
he's
go.
not a great Spider-Man. But now I'm saying yet. Yesterday I might have said he wasn't a good Spider-Man, but now I'm saying yet.
I don't think that he's a bad or a good Spider-Man.
A good
I don't
or
think
bad.
that- I
That's why
don't
I'm
think
saying
that
the movie
he's-
I
was
liked
mid.
his movies.
I don't think that he's like, oh my god, Spider-Man. Like I don't like. I'm like, oh my god. Like
He
I don't
did,
feel
like,
that way.
He like spiked my interest in Spider-Man
He's
because
very-
I hadn't watched like the other two like
Yeah.
previously.
Andrew Garfield is the first Spider-Man movie I ever watched. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 is the first one I ever watched. I didn't know the Tobey Maguire's movies were there. Then I watched them all again, and I was like, oh, these are good. And then I
They're
watched the
so
second
good.
one, and I was like, The Amazing
Like
Spider-Man
the first
2.
one, first Tobey
Bad.
Maguire movie. It's like, I think it's just like heartwarming to me. I think just watching them is just bringing me back to like my childhood, watching
Yeah.
them, dressing
Very
up as Spider.
sweet.
I'll show you the picture of me as Spider-Man. Hold on.
Mm.
Oh, anyway, look at this. Look at this picture of Tobey Maguire I have.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that edit, did you guys watch it in the group chat that I sent?
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
was young in that.
I know, but he's
Like he doesn't
so...
look like that in
No.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think-
in
I think he
Spider-Man,
was
he's not
attractive.
like-
That's
And
another
then
thing, though. I said
DiCaprio,
that
they were really
yesterday.
close.
I love
Yeah,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
like they were all friends, like
Yeah,
Brad Pitt,
very
Mark
close.
Wahlberg, Leo.
well, yeah, they were all the new boys on the block. They were cool beans.
yeah.
They were
New Kids
the-
on the Block. That's
no,
his
they were the
brother.
cool kids on the
Oh, okay.
brother. Oh yeah.
Donnie?
Oh my god, yeah. I didn't mean to do that, but that is true.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was
That
like,
would be
you're
like the
tripping up.
hottest friend group of.
Are we gonna talk about the Shutter Island?
yeah.
Okay,
Anyway,
let's do it.
We have 20 minutes left. Just to.
Do it.
Oh, really? It's 20 minutes? Are we in
Yeah.
the seminar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so like, no way we're gonna be able to use all this. But
We can do 2 then.
Oh, you
Just
can
cut it in half,
This can
part
only
one and
be
part
like
two.
30 minutes long.
I don't know. Swanson hasn't
can
told
put
me.
it all on.
Swanson
Whatever.
hasn't told me to stop. So.
Yeah. He thinks that we're having good conversation.
He yelled at the
maybe.
guys in the
are.
middle room for
Yeah.
being too loud. So.
I couldn't hear them.
No,
I've been,
you're
I've,
zoned in.
I've been dissing on
Yeah. I have the headphones
Tom
on.
Holland, but let's talk about a good movie, a really good movie. My favorite movie, actually.
I
Really?
can't believe that you're going to say
Favorite.
that it's your favorite movie and call No Way Home predictable.
All right, all
Yeah.
right.
Honestly, I didn't even see the last 30 minutes and I predicted it.
It's a good movie, and I agree with you.
But I think what I said earlier, me having Swanson as a teacher and what I'm majoring in and analyzing this movie, the way I think I see things is Shutter Island is a good movie.
I agree.
The
I agree, too.
writing,
I haven't
the
finished it.
thought that went
I think they're
into it.
both good movies.
I agree, Emma.
I just don't know how, like...
You can't.
Well, they're also two
okay,
different
so tell
movies.
me
You
why.
can
I
like
know,
both.
I agree, but if they have like the fundamental principle, like they're like you, if you're gonna look at both movies and say that you look at movies a different way, which I believe you do,
Compare and contrast them.
but you have to look at them on
You
like the
cannot compare and
topics.
contrast those two movies.
No, but you can look at you can compare and contrast how they execute their topics. about like their foreshadowing, their predictability.
Yeah.
Like I thought that the only reason that Spider-Man movies were predictable.
Boom. Here's a picture of me as Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I see it. Very cool.
Here, look.
Cute.
Like,
I forgot I have to leave. Oh my God, we have to end this. I forgot I had to leave at 11.
Why?
all right.
Because I have to go to court for my ticket hearing. Oh
my God.
All right, this is the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening. Hope you tune in next week.
Bye.
Bye.